on the phase one while we were still occupying the premises.
What we did was that we had an asbestos abatement phase in the crawl space below this courthouse. And we removed a few feet, maybe 50, 100 feet of asbestos pipe insulation that was along old steam pipes down in the basement. And that was done from the outside of the building through the basement. And so that was the majority of the work that was done.
So that completes what he was asked to do when he sent the...
Notice to proceed was that phase. But the other point that he was never told not to organize for the rest of the project. So as a general contractor, he signed contracts with his plumbers and masons and electricians and all of the people to begin providing their shop drawings, their submittals. I've been getting submittals. And so he has his people working on this project.
Without a notice to proceed or any other sound of proposal?
We have a signed contract. And my notice to proceed as architect.
I understand that, but I'm talking about what he did. And all of the other things he had never been told to start on that.
Yes, he was.
And
We had an
I think
understanding when we signed the contract with the judge that he was okay to start the work. We always knew that.
And I guess one of the things that there's a concern of, I guess there's a lack of communication, not with us, with everybody. Because it was last week, I got an email saying that they were going to tear off, starting in March, they were going to continue as they're going. And I mean,
I just don't think that's...
I can bring you the email. I'll forward it to you.
Forward it to
You
me.
email me. Do I have your email? And I'll email you back. If you email me something, I save it. I save every contact. But I'll forward it to you. And it says as whatever. Does it say that they're going to go in March? I CC'd you. Did I read it to you? That they were going to start in March, and that's just an
That's his
impossibility.
expectation, because no one's told him
But what
differently.
everybody's doing around us, they're going to have to let us know what their expectations are, because we need places to work and
Yeah,
places
that was
to
his expectation. We're waiting for y'all to come back and tell us that this building is not finished, and that you can't do that. And then we would like to go into a conversation with the contractor about extending that time limit, so he'll know when he can possibly move in, when he can get working, and when y'all can move out. And that's a discussion that we'd like to, have, but we haven't had a communication yet.
Well, Mr. Graves will be here tomorrow morning, and if you would like to come, you're more than welcome to come. I will not answer questions, and I may not make decisions. That will be done publicly. It will not be done in my office. And as long as we all have that understanding, and anytime there's a decision to be made, it will be made in a forum such as, it will always be made with these gentlemen sitting here, because that's just not going to be done. So if y'all want to talk, you can talk. And then at the Commissioner's Court meeting, you may do the same. But like I said, no decisions will be made. Does anybody have anything else to add?
No, I just wanted to express my feelings. My main concern here, well, I'm Benton County Commissioner, this is the third term, is for the taxpayers, of course. I've been working in this courthouse for 11 years now, going on 11 years. I can't say I don't have a big attachment to it. I do have some attachment to the courthouse, but, to be honest with y'all, I don't know, most of y'all probably weren't at the Commissioner's Court meeting, but I've said it 2 times. My true feelings to begin with, I'm going to be honest with you, was to tear it down and rebuild a new one. Well, it came into the vote and everything, and it came into restore the courthouse. Then I got used to the fact, and I went ahead and I would love to see it restored too. I was hearing all y'all's concerns. Y'all, I think there was 21 people here, 6 against, 15 for. I usually go for the majority. I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do, but I had 15 for that I heard today, 6 against it. And I know that Orange County is in a boom, the oil boom right now, but I surely understand too that it could die out in 2 years, 5 years, 6 years. I'm not saying we're going to be, people say we're going to have a lot of money for 20 years. We might not. I'm not really sure. I talked to our auditor today. Would you like to get recognized? Or no? Okay. Well, I talked to her and everything about the monies, and when she's our auditor, I go to her for a lot of information about the monies. But as of right now, I guess what I'm telling y'all that I've made my decision the first time, both ways right now. But my last decision was to go ahead and go with the restoration. until the 28th, we'll find out, but I appreciate that all y'all came out here and gave me your concerns and everything, and I took them to heart. I was just the kind of person, I'm a country boy out here, so I take them to heart, I take things to heart, right? And I appreciate y'all being here and y'all's concerns.
Can I say something quick? This doesn't have anything to do with what we're here for today. It's something that I'd just like to address the Commissioner's Court. When I tried to look for email addresses so I can start emailing people and say what I think or what I feel, I couldn't find one for y'all. It would be great as citizens for us to have your actual email addresses where we can contact you if we find that something's wrong on a road or if we see that there's something that we need. It'd be great to have one site where we can actually get the email addresses, not just a phone number, because a lot of people like to do things in an email because then you have something to back up what you're talking about. So if there's a way that the Commissioners' Courts, each of you could get us, the constituents, an email address where we can contact you other than the judge, which I had to call everybody to find the email address for, I'd appreciate it.
Does anybody else have any questions or anything else to comment about the contract before we leave?
I had a question about if the contract's canceled, do they have a penalty clause in that contract? Or?
That will all come in on the 28th, because tonight we're just discussing the concerns. We're not going to discuss any of the legalities. Mr. Busman will have that ready on the 28th.
Barbara, I also think that you need copies of all the markers that were placed on the courthouse. There is the RTHL and the National Register and the State Archaeological Landmark Marker. And the last one has some restrictions. So I just mentioned this again to Mr. Graves. I think you should have copies, all the commissioners should have copies of that.
And you can get into us with the this order, that'd be appreciated. Anything else?
Well, I have a question. This courthouse, I looked at the studies of it. I didn't see a grade elevation mark anywhere on it. And how you could determine, Mr. Fisher, that best part of the courthouse is not cracked up and carrying the rest of the support, I really don't fully understand. The first thing should be done, you have to stabilize this foundation, which should have been 10 years ago, of this part of the courthouse. Is that stabilization of this foundation included in this phase one?
No, it's included in the whole overall restoration. We didn't have to do the whole project and to both stabilize the foundation and to remove the wings. So we picked out something that could be done as phase one because that's all the money that the county wanted to spend at this time. We didn't apply for the full restoration last year, and we, selected a project that could be done that would help stabilize the building by removing that portion, and then in the future hopefully get phase two where we stabilize the foundation. And the grades are not on there. The grades and the analysis for the foundation and all that was done in previous geotechnical and structural surveys.
All right, so was it ever considered, did you cut a 6 foot off of that new addition and leave that space and save that space since it's a good building? Was that ever considered instead of tearing it all down?
No, because how would you use that building? It would require 2 stairways in a 3-story building. It would require an elevator because it needs to be ADA accessible. And all of those are over here in this building. So we saved the part that has all of the infrastructure that makes the building work, including the restrooms and the plumbing.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me to tear the best part of the building off and let the rest of it sit here until we get a grant before you stabilize the foundation. This foundation should have been stabilized first.
We never got a grant to stabilize the building. We applied for money and we were turned down year after year. And the county didn't come up and say, oh, well, let's pay for that on our own ticket. They kept waiting until they were getting the grant money to do that. So no work occurred on the courthouse.
anybody wonders what we're, I apologize, that's rude. What we were saying is, he was counting numbers of for and against, and I actually heard a lot of mixed emotion. I'm gonna say I heard a lot of things differently than what Mr. Rosales said, but what I did say, I said, if you are not a taxpayer here, for you to vote for or against would not make sense to me. That's all I said. You know, that's how we get our money, is based on the property taxes. So, I mean, that would be kind of like saying, you know, let the Floresville people come vote and see what they think. Because, you know, we really don't want Wilson County telling us what to do, because we're not going to tell them what to do. So it's, you know, it would be, if it went to an election, it would be within the citizens of Barnes, is what I said.
And I apologize, that's what I heard, you know. But yeah, minus two of them right here, which is Stan Grave and Lewis Fisher, would be 13-6, but that's the way I heard it. You're
Well,
right.
James, can I ask you, since you've been here 11 years, and some of the commissioners, I know, you know, Al's been here a while, Stormy had been there 12 years, my gosh, why had there never been any money appropriated to stabilize the foundation or do any maintenance on the building in general so that it wouldn't be in this condition? Why was there never money appropriated to do any maintenance on the building? I think there's a lot of questions here. There's even questions about why we're tearing the wings off and we're not tearing the wings off. There's a lot of unanswered issues here.
I understand. To stabilize the building at this size would be a lot of money. And no, it was never brought up. The only time it was brought up is with these grants, trying to get grants to stabilize. Because to stabilize a building this size, I mean, we're talking a lot of money.
You know, but I think what Shannon's hearing is the same thing that I keep hearing, is we all want a pretty building, but if we get a pretty building, is somebody actually going to maintain it? Or years down the road, are we going to be sitting in the same situation? That's my concern, because this building did not get like this from January 1st till now. I can promise you that. It didn't
I
happen.
mean, you could have voted for new windows, you could have voted for new plumbing, new toilets, I mean, anything.
And so,
Barbara, to suggest that there's been no maintenance on the building is not correct. There's been continuing maintenance on this building. I've been here for 20 years, and there's continuing maintenance. There's repair of roof. There's air conditioning. But our court has been in a money crunch. They haven't been unnecessarily wanting to spend taxpayers' money. We have no heat in this courtroom. The last district court that I had was when it was really cold. We tell everybody to dress warmly because we have an antiquated boiler system back there.